Hey y'all, my name is Briley Casanova and I'm a certified mental performance consultant, or CMPC for short. Today we have an extremely special guest, and it is my very, very, very dear best friend, Eva Alexander. And basically, I want to highlight her karate achievements. So she's going to tell you a little bit more about herself. But basically, Eva has a first degree black belt in 2 disciplines of karate. She is a 10-time Team USA athlete, and she also currently coaches and mentors young karate athletes in Plano, Texas. So in addition to both being an athlete, she's also a coach, and she's fantastic. She's a great person, a great overall young lady, and I want Eva to brag about herself for a moment. So I'm going to hand it over to her just so you guys can hear a little bit more about her, because she can probably speak even better about herself than I can. So yeah, Eva, what would you like to tell the beautiful people of the Pursuing Excellence podcast community, if you want to call it that?
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to start by thanking you, Briley, for allowing me to come on your podcast. This is going to be so much fun. And yeah, I guess I'll just get into a little bit about me. I started karate at 11 years old, and the karate community and just karate as a sport and as a martial art has given me so much. So it really is my mission to give back to that community as much as I can. So I try in every way possible in my teaching, in my performances and competition, to just embody the things that everyone has taught me.
Yeah, it really sounds like karate means a great deal to you, not just like the sport itself, but the people and I'm sure your students, you call them your students,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really big deal. And that's, on top of all of that, that's why I want to have you on here. As you guys can tell, Eva is a great, great young lady. She's a great person. But I do want to get into some questions today for her. I tried to narrow it down to 10, but we'll call this 10-ish, because some of my questions, they might have some sub-questions. So just, if you don't mind rolling with it, and if they're too wordy, just distill out of it whatever you want. But I want to start with you. I mean, I know you mentioned that you started karate when you were 11, but I want to learn more about how did you get into it in the first place? And yeah, what made you choose it? Because I'm sure if you start at 11, I don't know if you were maybe thrown into it by a parent or a friend, family member, but when did you realize that you chose karate, you chose to stay in it? Does that make sense?
Yes. No, I get what you're asking. So I was a gymnast. I started gymnastics at 3, and I did it all the way until I was 12 years old. My mom started doing karate in college, and she never attained her black belt, even until this day.
Okay, well, hey, but she became a mom,
Yes, she became a mom, and she loved me so well. She still continues to love me, but my mom one day, when I was 11 years old, woke up and decided, you know what, I really want to go back to karate, and I want to pursue my black belt. And you're my kid, you do what I say, you're going to do it with me.
Okay.
So, I jumped into this new sport, and I fell in love with it. I don't know how much you know about karate, but most people start karate pretty young.
Yeah.
So by the time I started karate, everyone was already, significantly further down the rank process than I was. So I was jumping at 11 years old, and most of my friends, had been doing it for probably 4 or 5 years by then. Mm-hmm. And I did not like the fact that I was coming in, and I had so much to learn in order to be competitive with all the people that were my age. So I befriended all of the people that were really, really good in the karate school, and I asked them to help make me as good as possible, as fast as possible.
Really?
Because I just did not like feeling like I was behind the curve.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And by the way, for whoever is listening to this, I did not know this about her. Okay? So I have more questions that I would dive into. I think I maybe knew you started doing gymnastics, but I didn't realize that was
I did it for a little while.
Okay. Yeah. And you said at 3?
I started at 3.
So from 3 to 12 you said you did gymnastics.
I did gymnastics, yeah.
But karate at 11, so there was a little bit of overlap.
Yeah,
seems.
I was a level 6 gymnast. So I was starting to do the airborne stuff, but I wasn't, I wasn't doing anything crazy yet.
Yeah, but still level 6 back then, before the rule change,
I can hear the floor routine.
Oh yeah, sure. The music, and obviously, if you're a listener or if you've been following my podcast journey, it's probably a lot of gymnastics people here listening. Mm-hmm. So, No, that's good to know. No, honestly, yeah, I didn't know this about you, Eva. That's crazy.
Everything's always karate, so
Yeah.
I don't really talk about how I got into it.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm so glad I asked. Okay, no, that's great. And so I don't know if you might have kind of semi-answered this, but my follow-up question to this question number 1 is, did you have a distinct memory or a moment where you decided that you wanted to like compete and not just be casual about it? Or did you always know that? Like, I don't know if you can think back to a moment where that kind of hit you.
So my very first karate competition, I really liked kata. And kata is the forms aspect of karate. It's very similar to routines.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So I related a lot to that, and I was terrified of fighting.
Really?
I actually, my first local tournament, I lost 8-0, and I cried.
Oh my gosh.
And my coach at the time, was consoling me and telling me everything was going to be okay. But I think that in that moment, it made me realize, like, okay, you know what? I really have to put in the extra work to catch up with the people that have been doing it so much longer than me. Yeah. And I saw it as a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, no, I love that. That really speaks to a lot of what I try to share here on my Pursuing Excellence podcast. But so diving in deeper, so my at least official question number 2, I know I've already asked you more than one question, but my official question number 2, to what do you owe your success and why?
Oh, this is a complicated question.
That's deep.
That's deep.
And by the way, like, as you maybe think about it, just so y'all know, Eva does not know the questions I'm going to ask her. I did not show her these ahead of time on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm putting her on the spot, so I don't know. I just feel like that's worth mentioning.
Well, I think that in karate, similar to all of the other sports, so karate is an individual sport where I go out there and it really is just me against someone else or me against a whole bracket of people. But it really does tie in, like, it takes a village. So, on the days that I don't feel like showing up and giving my best, I really owe it to my senseis, my teammates, my family, and everyone that has just helped pick me up, after losses, and really just pushed me to be my best when that morning I really didn't feel like waking up at 6 a.m. and going to practice. Yeah. So I really do think that it's just constant, reassurance and reminding you that, at the end of the day, you have this big, amazing goal. And you have to do everything possible to achieve that goal, even when you don't want to. Yeah.
So it sounds like you had people there to like kick you in the pants when you needed
yes.
it.
Even when I didn't want to hear it, they were kicking me in the pants.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you said it in a very polite way, but that's my short interpretation of what you just said. So
yeah, and I'm so grateful for it too.
Yeah.
I know that I would not be where I am today if it weren't for the people that pushed me on the days I wasn't pushing myself.
Right. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability in that question. But moving to number 3. What are the top 5 characteristics that you think make an athlete successful and why? If you could narrow it down to 5.
I would probably start with resilience. I think that a successful athlete is going to deal with losses or injuries, just hardship in general. And the mark of a very successful athlete is someone that can look at hardship in the face and come out stronger and realize, this is really just an opportunity to better myself. Yeah. So definitely resilience would probably be at number 1.
Okay. Sounds 1.
I think number 2 is they're typically pretty strategic in their pursuit for progress. So you can't really show up to practice and not have something that you're actively trying to get better at, because then it just turns into reps. And at a certain point, everyone is good. Yeah. Like at the highest level, you need to be very specific about what you're trying to improve on. So I think that a strategic approach is probably up there in the top 5 as well. Yeah.
Strategy when it comes to goals, it sounds like having a daily goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. Okay.
I do think that they're typically pretty organized. So you need to be able to track your progress, right? If my big lofty goal at the end of the year is I want to be national champion or I want to be Pan American champion, I want to go to the Olympics, whatever it is, you need to have very measurable things along the way.
Measurable. I like the word measurable.
Yeah. So I think just, along the way, you have to be very organized. The same way that you would be successful in school, you have to study your sport.
Yeah. Studying your sport, I think that's a really deep way to put it too. Okay,
Yeah.
I could go down a rabbit hole, but I want to hear two of your other traits that come to mind.
I think that very successful athletes are very giving back. You know, if someone is successful in something, it's because they have poured their heart and soul into it, and they've received a lot. And I feel like most Olympians or national champions, they're very generous with giving back to their community.
Yeah.
Because that's your role. You know, if you are at the top of the pyramid, it is your responsibility to help the people that are rising up. So I think that it is just, you know, being very generous in nature and doing what you can to help make the community as strong as possible, whatever sport that may be.
Yeah, and I would imagine when you say generous, that could be like with your time, that could be just with your energy, your wisdom, like your knowledge, mentorship, or even like financially, if you can do that, amazing.
I mean, really just going out of your way to pursue opportunities to help other people in ways that you've been helped.
Oh, I love that. Especially because you said, look, I'm not an Olympian. I know.
No, neither me.
Right, but still. But like, I think we both probably know several of them.
Yes,
and we also know what it took for them to be successful. And you saw, like, you used the word village earlier.
Right.
Those guys didn't get there by themselves.
No.
You know, so.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay, what's your last one?
My last one. It's probably gratitude.
Oh.
You know, I feel like there are a lot of, at least in the karate community, there are a lot of junior athletes who do karate because they're very good at it. But you can really tell the difference between an athlete or a karate practitioner that truly loves their sport and someone that is just showing up because they're naturally gifted at something. So I think that very successful athletes, they have a burning desire to do their sport and they enjoy just showing up to practice. It's not just wearing the medal at the end of the day.
Yeah. So not just like gratitude and love for the results. It's like it's the day in, day out. Yeah, the process.
It's the things you don't want to do.
Yeah. Finding those little moments to love it. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing those traits. I think they're all great answers, right? And there's obviously no wrong answers either. But I just wanted to hear like what you would think. So I really value your opinion.
I'm so grateful you asked that question. I feel like I just learned more about myself.
No, there you go. Well, I hope that you come away, whether it's you personally or someone listening here today, I hope someone comes away with something.
Yeah, me too.
Good. Well, moving to question 4. And I don't know where this question came from, but I'm just curious about it genuinely. What is the hardest decision you've had to make as an athlete and why?
Ooh. I think that the hardest decision that I've had to make as an athlete is probably how to best manage my time. So this is, I mean, it's probably pretty common among a couple of sports, but with karate, you typically work another job or you're in school, and when I'm competing internationally against these other girls that work, like they do karate and that is their job, I think that it was pretty difficult for me to show up to practice and decide, like, you know what, I'm really tired. I just worked my second part-time job and I'm exhausted, you know? But if I only had 50% left to give, I would give all 50%. So it was just kind of like, you know, sitting down, talking with my coach, letting them understand where I was at in any given time. Yeah. If I really just needed, you know, emotionally someone to, you know, confide in or just different kinds of support. It's just really being very open about where you are so that people can help you and so that you can help other people in the best way possible. So I think I struggled with that for a long time. Yeah. Time
management piece.
Yeah, time management, feeling like I was spread really thin, you know, waking up to go to class at 8 a.m. and then being in class and then going to work and then coming to the dojo, and then I have practice at 7. So it was very, very full days.
That's a long day.
And it was hard. It was hard at the end of practice to feel like I gave my all. Yeah. Especially at the beginning before I made that mental shift. Yeah. Like you said, when you had only 50% of yourself to give, but you gave all of it. Like even if it was just a little bit, you gave every last little bit of your energy that you had. Right. Yeah. And I think that, you know, there's a lot that goes into that applies to sport. You know, I can't guarantee that on the day of competition, I'm going to have an A day. Right. It may be a C day. It's true. But I need to be willing to show up and give 100 of my C day. And if I train hard enough under those conditions,
Yeah.
I should be able to beat whoever I need to beat on a C day if I do my job right.
Yeah.
So it really is just, you know, getting away from the idea of, you know, I can make excuses for the things that I cannot control. You just need to shift your focus to what can I control? How can I put myself in the best position to accomplish the things I want to accomplish?
Yeah, because on like a C day, like what you're going to default to is how prepared you were.
Right,
like,
absolutely.
Your habits, like those little things, like it's on the days, the work that's going to show up for you on the C days when you showed up to practice when you didn't want to.
Absolutely.
Right? So yeah, that's great. No, great answer. And kind of in the same like vein of that type of question, but now moving on to number 5 is, what is the hardest lesson you've had to learn as an athlete and why?
Yeah. So I think that being said, sport is so unpredictable, especially karate. You know, there are so many aspects to it. Karate is a very subjective sport.
Yep.
So you're kind of operating at the just at the opinions of other people, and we have you know, guidelines as to what they're supposed to be judging us based off of.
Of course.
But it's not so black and white all the time.
Right.
So I
there's
think
people, like humans are judging you, not robots, not a clock, not a point sheet or whatever. Like,
and
like,
you know, everyone is human and they're going to make mistakes. So you have to allow for that, you know, in your training. You have to train with the intention of, okay, you know what, I have to allot for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really think that the hardest part for me was probably when there was a point in time where I was not in school and I was doing everything for karate. So I worked really, really hard to be able to train all the time.
Okay.
And I was feeling at the very, very top of my game. And I went into this tournament and I had felt the most prepared I'd ever felt. But I did not perform the way that I had hoped I would perform. Okay. You know, there were days where, you know, I could only make it to practice 3 times a week, which is like anyone that does karate knows that that's not a lot.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
But, you know, days like that, weeks like that, I could go to US Open and I could pull a gold medal. Yeah. You know, if all of the things aligned and I did my job. But I think that, you know, after hoping and honestly like praying for the opportunity to just do karate and then for me to go to this very high level tournament and miss the bar, it made me feel as if I had worked hard for that opportunity and then I kind of blew it, you know? Yeah. And I really did have to remind myself that it is a process and that it's not perfect. And unfortunately with sport, you can do all of the right things, but there's still a lot that's up in the air. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't define your success based off of one competition. Right. Right. So that was actually pretty recent. Okay. And it was challenging for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, so sorry to hit you with a freshly.
No, it's okay.
A fresh experience, but I appreciate again your vulnerability, your honesty on that. Yeah. I know that exactly isn't a fun. It's not exactly a fun question, but...
Yeah, but I mean, I really hope that all of the hardships that I've faced, all of the losses that I've faced, that they're for something bigger than the fact that, like, I was supposed to lose that day. Sure. You know, I hope that if someone is listening to this and they think, you know what, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay as long as I'm looking back and reflecting and I know that my value and my success isn't based off of one performance or one score that the judges gave me, then, you know, it makes all of those losses pretty valuable. Yeah. Well, and that's why I kind of wanted to ask you some harder questions on top of like started off with some lighter ones, more positive, uplifting ones. But yeah, I hope someone out there listening, like, I mean, this is a black belt in karate that we're talking to, like, you know, and I know you guys can tell, you can tell Eva's a great person. She's a lovely human on top of being a fantastic athlete, you know, in addition to that. So, but moving into did I ask number 6? Am I losing? I think we did 6. We did 6? Or no. We did, what is the hardest lesson you've had to learn? Okay, now what's the most difficult challenge you've had to overcome as an athlete and how did you overcome it? If you did, or if it's something you're still overcoming, that's fine too. But yeah, most difficult challenge you've had to overcome. Yeah, I think that those are probably going to be tied in with injuries. So I've had my fair share of injuries. I'm actually dealing with my second ACL reconstruction right now, so I'm not actively training at the capacity that I would like to be training. But I really do think that when you want something so badly and something like that really just derails you, it reminds you just your sport is a gift, you know, and it makes you so grateful for every opportunity that you get to better yourself through it. So right now I'm really shifting my mentality towards helping at the karate school and teaching and, you know, just looking for ways that I can still stay sharp while also rehabilitating my leg.
Right.
So I think that injuries are a part of the process. You know, every successful athlete is going to have some kind of injury that they stared in the face and hopefully, you know, overcame and came back stronger.
Right.
But I'm pretty grateful in that I worked at a physical therapy clinic. That's actually how we met, guys.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mention that because I was curious about, you know, how far back we would go, and I don't know if any of that was relevant, but
no,
so you can share that.
I try to look at it through this lens of I have torn my ACL, recovered, came back even stronger than before that injury. Yeah. And then I also worked 3 years at the physical therapy clinic. Yeah. So I try to look at it through the lens of, you know what, if this had to happen to someone, I'm kind of like okay with the fact that it happened to me because I know that I'm going to come back stronger and I feel like I'm very well equipped for this challenge. Right. It sucks. Yeah. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yeah. You know, after I had that surgery, and I had to build all of the muscle back in my leg, I was pretty upset. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm pretty well equipped to handle all the challenges that have been thrown my way. Yeah. And I think that that's something that karate has really instilled in me. Yeah. I firmly believe that if you're constantly pursuing growth, then challenges are just an opportunity for you to better yourself. Yeah.
And I think, something that I was thinking of as you're talking about an injury, like an ACL injury, I don't know, you were kind of mentioning the idea of every, like, elite or high-level athlete is going to face injuries. And my initial gut went to, if you haven't been injured and you're an athlete, then what are you doing? Like, are you really, like, pushing yourself to be the best? And I don't mean to say that in, like, a jerky way. Like, I know what I just said that's a little bit, maybe a little unhinged. Okay, I can calm down a little bit on that. But I hope, like, if you know me and my personality, whoever's listening, like, just know that injuries are normal. I guess, like, what I'm really trying to say is injuries are normal. It's part of it. It means you're pushing yourself. And there's obviously, I'm not saying train through injuries, but I'm saying, like, how are you supposed to know how good you can be if you're not really, like challenging yourself?
Exactly. I completely agree with you. I think that, you know, as elite level athletes, you're asking your body to do amazing things, right? You know, and it's your responsibility to fuel it well and to prepare it and to do all of those things. Right. But there are still going to be, you know, instances where you can't prepare for that. Sure. You know, like even if I would have strengthened my quad as much as possible, there's really not much I can do to prevent an ACL rupture or an Achilles tear. So it's just it really is looking at the fact that, you know what, I want my body to do amazing things, but I'm human and it's going to fail me sometimes. And it really is just loving myself, loving my body, and then giving myself enough credit to acknowledge, okay, you know what, this is not the cards. These are not the cards that I wish I was dealt, but I'm going to deal with them anyway. Right. Yeah. Like, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? With that? Yeah. Well, and I think you having experienced the first ACL tear, like that just made you more equipped for this happening the second time, right? Yeah. Because I think your first one, it was like, you were a lot younger. Like this was like a decade ago or something, right? Just so that you guys know, I'm 25 years old now. And like I said, I started karate at 11. I had my first major injury probably when I was 14. Okay. I didn't have surgery or anything, but I had stress fractures in my spine. And then my second major injury was that ACL rupture on my right knee. Okay. And then 10 years later, I just freak accident in a local tournament. I ruptured the other one. Right. So, I mean, there was a lot of things going through my mind when I tore my second ACL because I knew exactly what it was. Yeah. And I knew what I was about to go through. So that was definitely challenging. But again, you know, that's one of the most important times where you have to really lean on your village. So
right, and you're doing that, still to this day.
Yes.
Could not applaud you more. You're doing great.
Thank you.
You're on your way to more success and recovery. But let's talk about number 7. So I'm glad you mentioned that you started karate at 11 because I was I wanted to tap into that a little bit. So my 7th question for you is, if you could give a pep talk to 11-year-old Eva, knowing what you know now, what would you say to her? Because this is the pep pep talk. What, number 45? I think we're on. So I hope I have that right.
Anyway. So I think that at the very beginning, probably similar to most young athletes, I was doing competition and I was performing for other people. Like I wanted to please my coach, or I wanted to please my parents, or I wanted my friends to think that I was good at what I did, or that I was cool and, successful. But when I made that switch, I became a lot more successful. And it really, it alleviated a lot of pressure that I was putting on myself, because I was able to realize, like, all of these people that care so much about me, they care about my journey.
Yeah.
And obviously they're going to want me to get the results that I want. But at the end of the day, no one is going to value me less. No one is going to think, smaller of me if I miss the bar a couple of times. And I think that without that pressure weighing on my shoulders, I was able to perform consistently a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. So great message for an 11-year-old. Just maybe there's an 11-year-old out there just wanting to get into karate or another sport.
Yes.
I don't know. But yeah, it sounds like make the most of the people around you. Be grateful.
Have fun. Make friends. Enjoy what you do. I mean, that is the whole point of life. You know, you want to love what you do. You want to love the relationships that you make, and establishing meaningful connections throughout the entire time. That process. It's just, I can't stress how important that is to me.
Yeah. No, that's good. It sounds like you would probably say there's more to karate than just like the wins.
So much
more than the wins, and more than just like the losses too. I mean, it's friendship, it's camaraderie, it's physical excellence. It's just, it sounds like intrinsically enjoyable to you too.
Yes. So, no, I really do feel like it has shaped my character in so many ways. I mean, I can't even put a finger on the ways that it's impacted me. Yeah.
No, I hear it in your voice. But I could go down that rabbit hole too, but I want to talk about question number 8. So do you have a favorite sports memory of all time, or a favorite karate memory of all time?
Yeah. So let's see. We'll go back to after I probably have 2.
That's fine. Sure, 2. I want to hear both of them.
So
sounds great.
As a junior athlete, frankly, I didn't have to work as hard. It came a little bit easier for me. But when I transferred to the senior category, I was fighting athletes, women that I really, really looked up to. I look up to them to this day. And they had been doing karate, 10, 15 years longer than I was.
Oh, okay.
So I was fighting people that had coached me internationally.
Oh, wow.
So it was a lot at once. And I really think that finally, once I won that number 1 seed on the senior national team, it was just something that I had been wanting for so long. And so at my dojo, at my karate school, we do a day of commitment at the beginning of the year, and we write down.
Oh, I remember you telling me this.
And we write down our goal. And my goal at every year was that I wanted to undeniably be the best minus 50, which is my weight category, in the country, which meant I would need to win nationals and I would need to get the first seed at U.S. team trials. Okay. And I wrote that goal down, I think 6 years in a row before I actually attained it. Wow. And I remember after, a successful junior career, it was really hard for me. It was really hard for me to come, and I would be, first alternate, or I would get second, or, I would be someone that could go if someone else got hurt. And it really just pushed me mentally. And it forced me to realize how badly I actually wanted this, because it wasn't coming easy anymore. Right. And I'm so grateful that I had to go through that because I think that it helped me turn into the athlete that I am today, the teacher I am today, just the karate practitioner in general. I wouldn't be the athlete I am if I didn't have to work so hard for it.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's one.
Yeah. And then my other is after I had recovered from my first ACL reconstruction, I went to our national championships, and I have an interestingly timed birthday.
Okay.
So at nationals, you're qualifying for 2 tournaments that fall later in the year.
Okay.
One of them is before my birthday, and the other is after my birthday.
All right.
So I would have to compete in 2 age categories.
Oh.
So it was like I was 17 years old competing in 16, 17, but I was also 17 years old competing in 18 to 20.
Oh, that's very different.
Right, very different, right? You're fighting 16-year-olds in one, you're fighting about to be 21-year-olds in the other.
Ooh, wow.
And I was able to train pretty vigorously for about 3 months before that national championships, and I was watching video the entire time I was rehabbing my knee. I was studying, not just my opponents. Hey guys, if you're listening.
Fair.
But I was studying like the higher level, like people that I wanted to be one day.
Wow.
Right? Just so that I could stay sharp. Yeah. And I went to that karate tournament, to the national championships, and I won both of my categories, and I didn't get scored on the whole time. So that was, I think that was the moment where I realized, like, oh, I really do have what it takes to push myself when things are not going my way, and I have the resilience to come back from all of these hardships. And I think that was when I started doing it for myself.
Okay.
I love, I'm so grateful for my village, and I do everything to represent them, but first and foremost, it's because I want to. You want to. I do it because I love it. Yeah. And not because I want to please other people anymore. Right. And I think that that's a very important step in the process of becoming a successful athlete.
Yeah. And how long ago was this, like, when did this happen, I guess?
Yeah, so this was 2017.
Okay, because you said you were 17.
Right. It was my
I was trying to do math.
Senior year of high school.
Okay. Wow. What a shift. I can only imagine what it's like to be in a room competing against people closer to age than you, and then all of a sudden a couple months later or weeks later, like, you're, like you said, you were competing against people with like 15 years of experience potentially on you.
And they kicked my butt.
Yeah. And then like
it was humbling.
This other age group of, like what, you said 18 to 21, 18 to 20?
So there's a transitional age category that is 18 to 20 that is supposed to kind of cushion that jarring jump. But yes, so I had 3 age categories that I competed in that year. I did 16, 17, I did 18, 20, and then I also competed in 18 to 34.
Oh gosh, wow.
So yeah.
I just think like developmentally, because like so much happens like cognitively, physically at that age, like just developing as a young, like, and I mean, obviously you're competing against girls. So like, I just think of like young females at that age, like there's so much change that happens. Yeah. So that's really cool. No, thank you for sharing your 2 favorite sports memories of all time. That's very impressive, super fun. But question number 9, I want to hear what's either the best or most impactful or meaningful thing that a coach ever said to you.
Ooh. Okay, so I think that a big shift that helped me kind of take the pressure off of myself was, so when I say that I do karate, I'm on, or I'm currently not on it because I had ACL reconstruction and I missed this past trials, but I do fighting, so kumite, and what really helped me was someone I really look up to. He's actually my sensei and a colleague of mine. His name is Tom Scott. And I was a kid when he told me this. But I asked him for advice, and he just said, like, don't focus on winning. Like, just focus on fighting and being present in the match, right? Because if the second I get scored on, I'm focusing on winning, I realize, oh, wow, I'm at a significant disadvantage because I'm now down in points.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm down in points and I just focus on fighting, there's really nothing that has changed.
Right.
You know, I still have all of the tools in my repertoire.
Right.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I can still accomplish everything I need to accomplish if I just focus on doing what I do in practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that with me, and I try to just pursue that fight, and the wins come.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. No, wow. And that's such just like a pure answer. I mean, from like a performance psychology standpoint, what you just described in one word is mindfulness.
Right.
It's just being present, being in the moment, on purpose, without judgment. I think that's such a beautifully just well put, simple answer, but I just want to highlight how profound that is. And it truly matches like everything I've learned about performance psychology. That's something like, I don't care who you are listening to this. If you're an athlete, if you're a business person, if you're a student, if you're a wife, a son, a daughter, a spouse, any human being, I hope you take away. It's not about always the end result. While yes, end results are fun, they are important, but according to what Eva just said, I just want to impact like how you get there though. You have to work backwards from that, and how you get the results and the success is be in the moment.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a great, just wonderful answer.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think like dealing with this injury right now, it's really kind of opened up that perspective for me, because I'm living in this moment where obviously there are things that I wish I could change, but I'm choosing to enjoy it anyway, and just take as much joy as possible from every aspect that is presented to me, and really just learning from it, because I know that moving forward, it's going to make me a stronger athlete. Yep. And hopefully my hope is that I'll be able to help other athletes if they get faced with something similar.
Right.
So
yeah, this experience, you're going to find a way to capitalize on it, whether it be both for yourself, but also for others. Again, you and your coaching day to day, like you're going to see, I hope you don't ever have to see this, but you might see an athlete of yours get hurt one day, and they're going to need you. So this is coming for a good purpose.
I do think that this is just to equip me, down the road for sure.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Last but not least, thank you guys for listening. If you've been listening this far, and thank you, Eva, for just being so thoughtful with all of your answers to my questions. But my last question for you today is, kind of leading into the coaching aspect of what you do. How do you reconcile or navigate? And I purposely put in this question not balance, because I don't think you probably balance your time here. But how do you reconcile or navigate being both a coach and an athlete?
Yeah, I really believe that life is about rhythm. I don't think that you can be perfectly balanced all the time. I think there are going to be some times where you have more to give in one area, and it really is just looking at the situation you're in and establishing, okay, you know what, this is the best way for me to have the most impact in my sphere right now. Like right now, I'm trying to do everything I can in my teaching and in my coaching. Right. But also, it really is a very full circle moment where if I go to a karate tournament and I win, it's awesome. Right. I'm so grateful. I'm so excited. I'm happy to, come back to the karate school, to the dojo, and show the kids this cool medal that I got, and they're going to be so happy for me. But at the end of the day, if I lose that karate tournament and I come back to the karate school to teach these 5, 6, 7-year-old kids, they're not going to remember. They're not going to remember that I lost that tournament. No. They're just excited to see me because they know I care about them, and they just want to play the karate games. Yeah. They are here to have a great time, and I'm there to make sure that they have that. And I just want to influence everyone that I'm around, especially the kids that I teach and the athletes that I train, to do their best and to enjoy every second of it. Yeah. So I really do think it's a rhythm. It's not a balance. Yeah. Okay. No, that's. I like how you put that better, because I was trying to it's a dance. It's a dance. Yeah. Yes. I think I was trying to think of the right word to express what I exactly wanted to ask you without making it about balance, because I think based on everything you said,
to be successful at anything, it's not going to be balanced. I'm sorry. At least that's just how I feel. Like, if you want to succeed at anything, this, like, I don't know, this girl hasn't had balance. Like, she's gone full send, safety third, you know, with this journey, you know, but also full send, like, you full send, there's no balance in taking care of yourself post-injury too, right? Like, we were talking about earlier how you have to really, it's a fight, you know, it's a fight to recover from an injury. Yet it comes with a lot of good lessons. And if you put the time and energy and effort into it, like, you're going to get back out what you put in. Yes. You know? So no, Eva, wonderful, thoughtful answers. Thank you so much for being here. This was fun. I learned, you guys, I don't think you understand, like, I've never gone this deep with Eva on some of these things before. So I learned a lot about her today, and I hope you guys did too. I guess before I close out with my ending, Eva, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything, I don't know. I know I'm putting you on the spot, so probably an unfair last little note for you, but
no, I want to thank you again for having me on your podcast. This is so exciting. This is the first time I've done something like this.
Really?
And I had so much fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's cool.
Yes, but I guess if I'm going to turn and speak to the listeners, I just want to encourage you to really just, if you're in sports right now, I want you to really just look internally and decide, why do you do your sport, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you can kind of put your finger on what it is that you love about it, you can make sure that you are really, you know, putting a lot of time and effort into that. Mm-hmm. And it'll really show you where your strengths and your weaknesses are too. Yeah. Because it is about self-awareness. Yeah. When you get to the highest level, you need to know, you know, where am I struggling and how can I improve? Mm-hmm. The same way that you would study anything. Right. You must study yourself. And that's how you're going to get the best outcome possible. So, I mean, love what you do and really just be thoughtful in your pursuit of your goals. Yeah. If I were to translate that into, like, my language, it's just like, find your why. Yeah. Find your why. If you don't know why you're doing this, that's okay, but try to figure it out because on the days, like Eva was saying, you know, kind of throughout our chat today, if you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't find a sense of value or purpose in it, the days that you're not going to want to show up, like, it's going to be hard. Yeah. And you're probably just going to choose to not. But you're hurting yourself by doing that. It may seem like the right answer at the time, or it may feel easier. Right. But if you want longevity, if you want to be successful, and I understand not everybody wants that at the end of the day. So I guess just be honest with yourself about what you really want. But then decide what you want and then go for it. Right. Right. And I think the last thing that I want to add to that is, you know, you need to know your why. But then once you establish that, you need to surround yourself with people that will help hold you accountable. Oh, yeah. Because you are not going to make it to the Olympics on your own. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. So you really do. You need to surround yourself with people that have similar values and that care about you deeply, that will not let you sleep in. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Or give up or cut corners, take the easy way. Yeah. No, great point, Eva. And that goes regardless if you're in a team sport or in an individual sport, by the way. I think you'd probably agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Well, with that said, you guys, I know we've kind of gone a little longer than I typically go, so I want to let Eva have the rest of her night to herself. But with that said, thank you so much for listening. Please check out my social media platforms. Everything is listed in the show notes in the description section of the platform that you choose to listen to this podcast on. All of my relevant links are now on one Linktree link. So thank you again, Eva. I really appreciate you. No, this was really fun. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And if you do karate, I'm gonna repost this on my stuff. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. If you do karate and you're looking for, you know, mental performance coaching, I mean, my friend Briley is amazing. Oh my God. So please check out her page. She is awesome. You guys are so sweet. No, okay, I was not expecting you to say that. I was gonna say, like, is there anywhere that we can find you? I don't know what you want, like, public or not, so I'll let you decide. Any, like, social media websites, I don't know, your dojo, like, I'll let you decide what you want to share or not share. I can post, like, my Instagram handle into the caption of this podcast. Great. And then I'll put it in the show notes. And then the karate school is called the Academy of Classical Karate. If you're in the Plano area or DFW, you should definitely check us out. Yeah. I am one of the instructors that is there almost all the time. So, stop by and see me.
Cool. Yeah, Plano, Texas, by the way.
Plano.
Yeah, Dallas, Fort Worth area, in
Yes.
case you're not from here, you're from overseas. That's where we are right now. So, anyway, thank you again, Eva.
Thank you, Briley.
Thank you. I appreciate the pep talk.
Yeah, no, this was so much fun. Thank
Good.
you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.